Okay, so it's been a while since Hilary Duff has been active in the music game, but she just reintroduced her music career with a new hit single called Mature, and she released the music video for it as well. Here in her Instagram captions, she said, "Mature speaks to my mature self, calling my not so mature self on the phone many years ago, and she's letting her know we landed softly. This was a brief time with a lover that left me with so many questions. It felt like a good place to start." So, allegedly, this song, Mature, is a very pointed diss track at Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's throwing shade at him for his well-known proclivity for younger women. Allegedly, he has this rule where he doesn't date women over the age of 25. However, that is not true. I don't know why people keep saying it, because he's currently in a long-term relationship with a 27-year-old.
Yeah, but that like just started, and he needs to date at least two 27-year-olds before that will sink in, and even then probably not.
Vittoria Coretti is her name. She is an Italian model who is 27 years old. They've been dating for a few years now, making her one of the oldest women that he has ever been linked to.
What if he loves to just leave them scared? Like, she wakes up every day wondering if this is it.
So for context, Hilary Duff is 38. Leonardo DiCaprio is 51. I guess if they dated when she was in her 20s or early 20s, that would have been a pretty significant age gap, but I wouldn't blink an eye at a 38-year-old and a 51-year-old dating, because as you get older, the gap is just less meaningful. But this could be about Leonardo DiCaprio. However, I didn't find any evidence that they've ever been even seen in the same room. The allegation is that they're in a secret relationship many, many years ago, and they were never spotted together. And other people think this is about a different ex of hers named Jason Walsh, who was, at the time they dated, 11 years older than her. And he ended up dating Kristen Cavallari after Hilary Duff, who is the same age as Hilary Duff. So that doesn't quite make sense for her getting, in the story, traded off for a younger model.
What if it's the other guy and Leo's like, look, I'm not basic. I never used that bullshit, you're so mature for your age line. He's like, I don't need to use that.
He's Leonardo DiCaprio. He doesn't need to convince
He's like, I actually don't care if you're mature for your age. No. If you're 24 and you act exactly 24, I'm fine with that.
In this interview with Vogue, Hilary Duff said, "Mature is a conversation with my younger self about being happy with where I landed. Part of it was an idea that Matt, her husband, originated. And part of it came from thinking about the idea of not recognizing younger versions of yourself when you're now deep into your 30s. It's definitely about a brief experience that I had a long, long time ago, but it's not totally autobiographical. I took a few artistic liberties to just make the song work structurally, but the gist is the gist. I was looking back on this relationship and thinking about whether this guy had a habit of dating younger women or whether I was quote unquote special. The whole experience was super therapeutic to write about, but being so vulnerable through your music can be really scary." So I'm going to go through the lyrical evidence that people are using to pinpoint Leonardo DiCaprio as the man in question. The most obvious of which is this line in the very first verse, "Very Leo of you with your Scorpio touch."
I mean...
So obviously his name is Leo, but he's also a Scorpio.
I mean, that just tells me that it could be a play on words that just evokes the nature of the song. It might have nothing to do with him. That doesn't...
And I'll say, on the other hand,
I actually feel like if it was about him, she would have avoided using even a comparison to his name.
Her other ex is also a Scorpio, so it could easily be about the other ex.
Yeah.
But this one is more pinpointed as Leonardo DiCaprio. She's talking about this younger woman who's now dating him. "She's so impressed by your Basquiat." And this is a reference to an artist named Jean-Michel Basquiat, who makes a lot of very disturbing pieces. You might want to look into him. Maybe we'll have a longer discussion about the celebrities who collect his art in the future on this show, and what that may signal about the type of elite circles that Leonardo DiCaprio and others run in. But he is known to be a collector of Basquiat paintings, and that, I think, is more detailed than any of the other ones. And these other lyrics say, "She loves when she hears you say you're so mature for your age." She's talking about this other woman who is just a different version of her, but younger and blonder, who ended up dating her ex after her.
What's the age difference between George Clooney and what's her name, Amal?
Amal Clooney is in, I think, like her mid to late 30s, and George Clooney's in his 50s.
I mean, you know, maybe this is one of those things that they just all imagine that they have the hubris to think that they're the one that's finally going to get him to settle down.
But this is the thing that people don't understand about a lot of these age gap relationships in the public eye. It's usually the younger woman in the relationship who is kind of holding the reins. Like, she's the one in control and wearing the pants, per se, in the relationship, because they both have their own power in the relationship. Obviously, the older man, who is more wealthy, more connected, more powerful, more knowledgeable, he has his own power in the relationship, but the younger woman is also kind of throwing her weight around because she adds to his status by being with him. So that goes for Leonardo DiCaprio and all of his younger girlfriends as well. Like, they benefit, of course, from being in a relationship with him, but he also benefits from being in a relationship with them because it is a status symbol at the end of the day.
There's still less of him than there are of them.
True.
Like, it's like, I won't call it hoflation. That's not fair. But it is the type of thing where he's like, he could at any point be like, it doesn't matter. I can find 1,000 of you, unless it has something to do with their actual personality and what they're actually like.
For a long time, people have theorized that Amal Clooney, George Clooney's wife, is definitely running him around on a leash, basically, that he is totally at her whim. And then in these later lyrics, she says that she hid her car at Carbon Beach so I wasn't seen at yours. This is a very wealthy enclave within Malibu, and it was confirmed that Leonardo DiCaprio owned a home in Carbon Beach from 1998 until 2021, which ended up selling for $13.75 million.
Damn.
So that's a very specific line that also kind of places him in the crosshairs of this diss track.
Yeah, all of these are way more convincing than the first part.
Yeah. And then the rest of them are like, she looks like she could be your daughter, like me before I got smarter, when I was flattered to hear you say you're so mature for your age. And a bunch of women are commenting on this, saying that this is an incredible call-out post that's about Leonardo DiCaprio. They're assuming that. One of them said, Hilary out here calling out all the adult men who date teenagers. Hell yeah. I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio is dating teenagers.
And that's that's their own. They're kind of imprinting on the lyrics that way.
Yeah, and then there are just as many comments saying some variation of, the 90s kids needed this right now. The 90s kids are healing from this. This is what we needed.
Yeah, that's not true.
This is exactly what all of the aging millennials needed right now, is a Hilary Duff comeback.
What the millennials need to do is like extricate their sense of like personal identity from anything to do with celebrities.
Now, I have no idea if this song is actually about Leonardo DiCaprio. However, I think I don't want to hear a diss track about his age gap relationships. I want to hear a diss track about his weird sex proclivities.
The headphones?
Yeah, so I went back and found where this originated. There were rumors starting back in 2016 that Leonardo DiCaprio wears noise-canceling headphones and closes his eyes during sex, allegedly while vaping and listening to music. According to these unverified claims, he reached for his vape and headphones during intimate moments, laid back, closed his eyes, and signaled for his partner to continue. While he disengaged from the act, he sometimes listens to MGMT.
I don't know what the acceptable version of this would be. Is there a band that's more... Is there like a music he should be listening to? Like it's not
the worst choice.
He should be listening to Jamiroquai, and that would be okay.
And
everyone's like, look, MGMT is kind of bullshit, but if he was listening to Virtual Insanity while he was having sex, that would be okay.
Yeah. There was even a reference to this rumor in the TV show Succession, where one of the characters actually wears the noise-canceling headphones and listens to podcasts during sex instead of listening to MGMT, which is a modern twist.
Listens to Dave Ramsey.
Uh-huh.
Do you see the
Listens to Andrew Huberman.
I like all the
maybe.
memes that were made of like Dave Ramsey promptly keels over and dies when he hears about the 50-year mortgage.
Another comment here says, "You're so mature for your age, something we all heard and were pleased with ourselves for. But now as adults, we realize we should have ran away screaming." Oh, I don't know what all of these women are talking about. I understand I have very different priorities from the women who date celebrities or businessmen who are decades upon decades older than them.
Yeah.
So I'm not like looking for the same things in life that they are, but no one ever said this to me. Everyone who said things about my age over the years, they were saying like, you think you think you know everything, Mary. You think you're right about everything, but you're gonna learn that you're not, and you're gonna get humbled eventually. You know, like you're gonna grow out of that attitude of yours. And then I never did. So
I don't think
I never heard anyone saying you're so mature for your age. I always heard people saying like, you're gonna learn eventually. You're not right about everything.
Yeah, but we're talking about like radically different contexts here. One is in which people are pursuing a sexual relationship with a person. Another one's people talking about political and I guess pop culture opinions on the internet. And people want when you're extremely opinionated and you're younger, you're going to be told that you're going to be humbled down the line. Now the trick with that is that that could go forever. Like just because you haven't been humbled yet doesn't mean that it couldn't happen down the line. That's what they're thinking, right? They're like, just because she hasn't done so yet doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen. You know, when you eventually one day have kids, they'll be like, oh, where's that iPad? And you'll be like, no iPads in my house. And then they'll cope and be like, I bet you she does. She just doesn't show it.
Yeah, everyone does the just you wait rebuttal to anything you're right about, basically. Just you wait and you will be a hypocrite about whatever it is you believe that makes me feel inadequate.
Well, the thing is the job requires you to have strong opinions on these things. Otherwise, you end up like me. And I saw somebody on the chat who goes, there goes Brett, both sidesing again to the...
You're sitting on that fence so hard, it's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's rough, man. But like for me, I lived enough of a life and made enough mistakes where... I kind of have the opposite problem, which is like I'm not sure of much of anything. I have my opinions, but you know, you're kind of always like, yeah, it could be wrong. But that doesn't sell great copy, as they say. This industry incentivizes you to be strongly opinionated and have a good argument to back it up, and it doesn't do you very well to be on camera and be like, I might be right, I might not.
No, yeah.
Like, it just doesn't. Like, I'm sorry. It sucks, but that's just not the way it is. That type of nuance doesn't really work. What's better is to have nuance in an opinion you think you're right about.
Right. And
be willing to admit when, and people give it, like, one thing that people love is people love when you can admit when you're wrong about something. They do like that. Whether it's purely out of their own hubris to be like, see, I told you so, or people like, so it's actually plausible that people show up to a video of yours not hearing any of the stuff beforehand and hear you say, look, oh, I thought this was going to happen, it didn't happen, and somebody who didn't even know what you were thinking before is like, you know what, I like them because they were willing to admit they were wrong about something.
It's probably the minority of people that would interact with it that way. I see countless interactions on X where someone is just blatantly proven wrong and then it's crickets.
Oh, no, I'm not. Social media different. I'm talking more like content that gets seen. Like you find a video on YouTube where somebody says something like that. Very rarely will that happen on social media. That's why I don't engage.
Maybe TMI, but there was a male who was interested in me romantically. We never dated, but he did say to me, to my face, your attitude will bite you in the ass one day.
How did that happen?
It never did. I can't go into detail.
Okay.
I can't go into detail, unfortunately, but...
Did he wag his finger at you?
He might as well have, yeah.
Put hand on one
but look,
hip?
my attitude never bit me in the ass. It's why I am where I am today.
Okay.
That's why I'm a podcaster.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.